I'm being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, over the phone line. Siddhant, it's an iconic moment. You know, we have been anticipating this since a while. Of course, it was known that they will be shifting today. There was a long speech given by the Prime Minister, but Samvidhan Sadan is probably the last words that he said before now that they're moving towards a new building. Tell us how iconic this moment is and what to expect.
Well, India is an old civilization. It's a modern country, and there are periods in time of its history which are seen as pivotal. And today is such moment, given that how the in-person, the physical movement of the Parliament has taken place. From the old Parliament building, we saw the address by the Indian Prime Minister yesterday, and today to the new Parliament, as the Indian Prime Minister said, is stepping into a new future today. The direction the country has taken now, all its aspirations will be fulfilled, and the aspirations should be fulfilled through the work done by the government. But essentially, we saw other leaders as well present in the House, and we saw the Vice President saying that history in making. But largely, as the day progresses, we will see now, of course, focus on passage of key legislation. So we know that there have been murmurs of women's reservation bill, but whatever happens now in the new Parliament House of India is something that will be closely watched, because remember, this is a week-long special session of the Parliament, right, and there's still 3 days left.
Siddhant, now the women's reservation bill, of course, you weighed in on it right now. That is, reportedly it was cleared yesterday, and we will get to know later in the day today what's the verdict on that. What else are we still speculating on regarding this non-exhaustive list that the government mentioned? That means there are some things that are up for discussion which may be propping up, but no one knows of it. There is some element of surprise which the government has retained even now. What else do we expect in the next few days to come in the new Parliament building?
Well, the element of surprise is the biggest story coming out this week from the special session of the Parliament. And we know that there are reports of whip being given to various party by the ruling party to its legislators. So that basically means passage of certain bill that requires in-person presence and voting. And let me point out that why this session is significant, why we do not know what is going to exactly happen. The fact that External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar postponed his visit to UNGA. He will be, of course, going once the session is over and then addressing next week at the UNGA. But the fact that he has postponed it shows that how significant this moment is in India's history of democracy, and, of course, perhaps giving direction to where the country goes.
Siddhant, now, of course, the Prime Minister gave a long address a little earlier in the day. Stay with us. We'll cut across to what the Prime Minister said in his speech earlier, and that was probably his final speech there in the old Parliament building.
आज हम यहाँ विकसित भारत का संकल्प दोहराना, फिर एक बार संकल्पबद्ध होना और उसको परिपूर्ण करने के लिए जी जान से जुटने के इरादे से नए भवन की तरफ प्रस्थान कर रहे हैं। आजादी के पूर्व ये खंड एक प्रकार से लाइब्रेरी के रूप में इस्तेमाल होता था, लेकिन बाद में संविधान सभा की बैठक यहां शुरू हुई और उन संविधान सभा की बैठकों के द्वारा गहन चर्चा विचारणा कर करके हमारा संविधान यहीं पर आकार लिया। यहीं पर 1947 में अंग्रेजी हुकूमत ने सत्ता हस्तांतरण किया, उस प्रक्रिया का भी साक्षी हमारा ये सेंट्रल हॉल है।
Right, a historic moment there. That is, of course, the Indian Prime Minister. Now, as of now, the Parliament proceedings will officially shift to a new building after, of course, the Lok Sabha Secretariat designated the new building as the Parliament House of India. And to discuss this and a lot more, joining us now is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal from New Delhi. Siddhant, tell us a little bit about the significance of this and set the Prime Minister's words in perspective for our viewers.
Well, essentially, this is a significant moment in India's history, India's journey as a democracy. Now, we know that this is a moment that many were waiting for a long time. We have seen visuals since morning as to how, of course, legislators moved to the new parliament building. But as the Indian Prime Minister pointed out that how essentially India is stepping into future today, he pointed out as to the direction the country has taken. All its aspirations should be fulfilled. He commented on various issues, including saying that India is emerging as a stable supply chain to the world and the voice of the global south. And this in the backdrop of the successful G20 summit earlier this month, where we saw not only India focusing on the problems faced by the global south, but also the inclusion of African Union as a full-fledged member of the grouping. In fact, India hosted the Mega Voice of the Global South Summit earlier this year, and the basic outcome of that meet was taken into account during the G20 summit. But coming back to the parliament session, which is the big focus today, the new parliament and, of course, legislators moving symbolically into the chamber of the parliament is something that is a message and a history being made. And now, of course, we know that this is a special session of the parliament. 2 days are over. The first day was in the old parliament building, where we saw the address for the Prime Minister. Today again the address. But 3 days are still left, and there are murmurs of passage of key laws, including murmurs of the passage of the Women's Reservation Bill.
Right, Siddhant, tell us a little bit about what we can expect from the ongoing session of Parliament. It's been in the debate for a lot of days now, especially during the G20 summit as well. So what can we expect in the days to come?
Well, there is a lot of elements of surprise in many senses. We know that the murmurs around Women's Reservation Bill, but essentially 3 days still left. Will key bills be passed? What kind of announcements are expected? Something that will be closely awaited. Also, remember that a whip has been given by the ruling party to its legislators that they should be present in the parliament. That basically indicates that at certain voting for passage of certain laws. So that means a key and a crucial bill is expected to be placed in the parliament, in the new parliament, by the government. We know there was a cabinet meeting yesterday, and thereafter there was a tweet which was later on deleted on the Women's Reservation Bill. But all in all, when it comes to this occasion, this is a big occasion. He addressed the parliament. We saw he walking with the lawmakers. It is a memorable visual that will be remembered for a long time. But all in all, we know that the next 3 days will be crucial in terms of passage of bills and, of course, the direction which is expected to be given during this special session of the Indian Parliament in the new building.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the women's quota full implementation by 2027. That is what the Prime Minister said. In fact, likening it to an Agni Pariksha or a trial by fire. That is a very strong statement.
Well, a strong statement nonetheless, but strong statement on other issues as well, including on where India's foreign policy is, what direction the new parliament will be focusing on for the government and the new policies. But all in all, we do expect next 3 days to be crucial in terms of the bills which the government is going to put in the new parliament, because this will be recorded in history, and the government is keen to make new history almost every day.
Right. Tell us a little bit about some of the other bills that are going to be tabled and what we can expect on that front. And of course, all this will be happening in the new parliament building. And of course, these were live visuals that we just saw of the political leaders moving to the new building.
Well, we are still awaiting the details. Nobody knows the bills which will be placed in the parliament. We have seen how there was a tweet yesterday on Women's Reservation Bill, but the tweet was deleted. So this is the element of surprise that is essentially hooking on to the news cycle. But according to reports, there are 8 bills which are expected to be placed in the parliament. The first includes repealing and amending Bill 2022, the Post Office Bill